On the quiet planet of Varel, the crystal halls of the Elder Council glowed with soft blue light. The air was still, but every elder inside the hall could feel the coming storm. High Elder Moran stood in the center, his voice shaking as he spoke to the young leaders. Humans are not simple creatures, he warned. They are the most unpredictable beings we have ever studied. But the young warriors of Varel only exchanged amused looks. They did not fear humans. They did not believe the stories. One of the strongest young commanders crossed his arms and stepped forward. Elder, humans live on a small planet, he said. Their technology is basic. Their bodies are weak. Why should we fear them? Moran looked into Rector's bright silver eyes. Because they survived things that should have killed them, he said slowly. Ice ages, plagues, world wars, disasters they created and disasters they did not create. The young leaders still did not care. To them, humans were nothing more than a primitive species. But deep under the hall, a machine began to hum. A signal scanner, old and forgotten, suddenly activated. A sharp red light flashed. Elder Sallow turned toward the device, his long fingers trembling. The humans have sent a message, he whispered. The young warriors laughed again. Let us hear it, Rector said proudly. I want to know what these humans think they can say to us. The message began. A cold human voice echoing through the hall. We are coming. The words were simple, but every elder felt their hearts sink. Rector's smile faded for the first time. Elder Moran lowered his head. It has begun, he said. The council immediately called an emergency meeting. Blue flames lit inside the crystal bowls, signaling danger. Warriors rushed inside the hall, their armor shining and their eyes full of questions. Rector stood before them and tried to sound confident. Humans are provoking us, he declared. We will protect Varel. But the elders exchanged worried glances. They had seen this pattern before. They had watched humans for thousands of years. Humans did not provoke without reason. Humans did not move without purpose. Late that night, Ran sat alone in his chamber, reading ancient carvings left by the first explorers who visited Earth. The carvings described humans as clever, emotional, fearless. They would fight, even when they had no chance. They would survive, even when nature tried to destroy them. They were not the strongest, not the smartest, but they never stopped. Moran closed the ancient tablet. If only they listened, he whispered. Meanwhile, Rector prepared his fleet at the edge of the Vorel system. He wanted to prove that humans were no threat. He wanted to prove that the elders were afraid for nothing. His ships formed a sharp silver arc around the planet, powerful and ready. But then the second message arrived. The voice was calm, almost polite, but more terrifying than the first. We've tried to warn you, the human voice said, but you do not listen. Every warrior fell silent. Rector felt something in his chest, something he had never felt before. Fear. The elders gathered again. Moran spoke softly. Humans do not speak like this unless they are prepared. Rector clenched his fists. Let them come, he said loudly. We will show them our strength. Moran looked at him with sad eyes. Strength is not what humans fear, he replied, and strength is not what humans fight with. At that moment, the stars outside shifted. A small human ship appeared at the edge of the system, silent and dark. Its size was small, its design simple, but every elder felt the same chilling truth. The humans had arrived, and the warning had come too late. The skies above Varel shimmered as the human ship hovered silently near the outer edge of the system. Its metal hull reflected the pale light of the twin suns. Rector watched through his viewing glass, proud and confident. Small ship, he said. It cannot fight our fleet. But Elder Moran shook his head. Do not be fooled by size, he warned. Humans are not like anything you know. The Varel Council gathered in the Crystal Hall, their faces tense. Elder Sallow spoke. The humans speak again, and the message played. Calm, soft, almost polite, yet every word cut through the hall like ice. You may think you understand us, but you do not. The human voice said, we come with purpose, and we do not fail. The young warriors scoffed at first, but whispers began to spread. A strange fear crept into even the bravest hearts. Rector led a scouting team to the edge of the Varel system, his ships gliding silently through the black, sharp, cold space. He wanted to see these humans for himself. When they arrived, the sight made him pause. The human ship was simple, almost fragile, but the technology inside moved in ways the Varel had never seen. Energy shields pulsed with quiet power, weapons folded inside compartments ready to strike at the perfect moment. Rector frowned. They are clever, he admitted quietly, almost to himself. Elder Moran appeared behind him in the command ship, his silver robes glowing faintly. "Clever is not the danger alone," he said softly. "Humans survive because they think, because they fight together, because they never give up." The humans sent another message. This time a hologram appeared. The leader of the human fleet stood tall, calm, her eyes steady and strong. She spoke directly to Rektar's ship. "We have not come for war," she said, "but if you force us, we will finish what must be finished." Rektar felt a chill. He had expected fear, anger, maybe even begging, but what he saw in her eyes was certainty, and the kind of calm that only comes from someone who has faced death countless times. He returned to Varel, the warning heavy on his mind. "Elders," he said, "they are not like us. They do not fight for glory or honor. They fight to survive and to protect what they love." The elders nodded, their faces grim. "And that is why they are the deadliest," Rand said. "They may seem small, weak, ordinary, but every human carries the strength of their entire history." Rektar could not sleep that night. He stared out at the stars, imagining what it would be like to face humans in battle. He had fought many creatures, many enemies, but none like this, none with such quiet power, such focus, such heart, across the system. The humans prepared their fleet, silent and precise. Every ship moved with purpose, every crew member ready, every human trained to survive, to adapt, to fight when needed. Rektar realized suddenly, "We have underestimated them," he whispered, "and underestimating humans is dangerous." The elders shared stories of humans long ago, ancient records of explorers and survivors, how humans had fought monsters on frozen worlds, how they had survived plagues that destroyed entire civilizations, how they had rebuilt, adapted, and thrived even when the odds were impossible. Moran looked at Rektar. "Do you understand now why we warned you?" he asked. Rektar nodded slowly. "Yes, they are nothing like we imagined. They do not back down." In the distance, a small human ship fired a warning signal, a silent pulse that cut through space and echoed in the hearts of all Varel watchers. The battle was coming. Rektar knew. The humans had arrived. They were ready. And for the first time, the young commander felt real fear, not for himself, not for his glory, but for his people, his planet, his world. The humans never backed down, and now Varel would see what that truly meant. The Varel fleet moved with pride and power, their ships gleaming silver under the light of Varel's twin suns. Rektar led them at the front, confident and ready to prove humans were no threat. The human ships appeared small, almost fragile, but they moved with an intelligence and precision the Varel had never seen. Each vessel seemed to anticipate the other, forming a pattern that felt alive. Rektar signaled his fleet to attack, weapons charging and energy beams ready to fire. "Show them our strength," he shouted. The human fleet responded not with speed, but with strategy. Their ships dodged and weaved in ways that made the Varel fleet collide with each other. Confusion spread quickly among the young warriors. Elder Moran watched from his command ship, his face grim. "Strength alone will not win this battle," he warned. The Varel fired first, massive energy beams lighting the black of space, but the humans did not panic. They moved calmly, and in perfect formation. Every attack was dodged. Every strike returned with precision. Rektar's heart pounded. He had never faced enemies like this. They were small, yet unstoppable. Their movements were simple, yet deadly. A Voral cruiser exploded near him, sending shards of metal and fire into space. Rektar's crew panicked, but he remained focused. "Regroup," he ordered, but the humans did not chase recklessly. They only engaged where needed, striking the strongest first, disabling the weapons of the largest ships. Their tactics were not about chaos, but perfect control. Rektar noticed something strange. The humans saved their enemies, repairing wounded Varel ships instead of destroying them, even as lasers flashed and shields broke. They worked with patience and precision. He realized something that chilled him. Humans were dangerous not because of raw power, but because of heart, because they fought together, because they never gave up, because they always thought one step ahead. The Varel lost their first battle heavily. Ships fell one after another. Young warriors screamed, while others froze in disbelief. Rektar's pride shattered, replaced by fear and respect. He watched as the human leader guided her fleet, calm, determined, almost like a predator in the wild. She did not shout, she did not threaten, she simply moved with the certainty that she would survive. Elder Moran spoke softly into Rektar's communicator. This is what we warned you about, Rek. Humans survive because they never stop. You cannot win with arrogance. Rektar clenched his fists. We underestimated them, he admitted, voice tight with regret. The human fleet began to retreat slowly, not out of fear, but to lure the Varel into deeper space. The message was clear. They controlled the battle. Not the Varel. Rektar knew that this was only the beginning. The humans had shown their power, their strategy, their patience, and he understood, finally, that to face humans in war was to face something far greater than strength alone. It was to face the will of a species that never surrendered. The Varel fleet regrouped in silence, wounded and shaken. The elders knew that the humans' next move would be deadly. Rektar looked at the stars, at the small human ships retreating calmly, and whispered, "We are not ready for this." "Not at all." Moran put a hand on his shoulder. "No, Rektar, we are not, but we will learn, and perhaps, if we survive, we may understand them." The stars above seemed colder now, darker, as if the galaxy itself held its breath. And deep in the black, the humans moved with silent purpose, ready for whatever came next. The first clash was over, but the war had only begun. The Vorel fleet returned to their home system, battered and quiet. Ships floated like wounded animals among the stars, and Rektar could not shake the memory of the humans' calm, precise attacks. In the crystal halls of the elders, a heavy silence filled the room. Marin turned to the council and said, "It is time to reveal the truth about humans." Elder Sallow brought forward ancient tablets, long hidden, their surfaces etched with the history of humans, records gathered by Varel explorers centuries ago. The young warriors leaned forward, curiosity mixing with fear. "These are old stories," one of them said. "How can humans be so dangerous after all this time?" Moran opened a tablet and pointed to the carvings. "Humans have survived what no other species could endure," he said. "Ice worlds, deadly plagues, endless wars, disasters of their own making, and disasters beyond their control." Rektar studied the images, seeing humans on frozen planets, standing against monstrous creatures, rebuilding civilizations after total destruction, healing their wounded, teaching their young. "They are not conquerors," Moran continued. "They do not fight for glory or greed. They fight to protect what they love and what they believe is right." A murmur ran through the council, the young leaders slowly understanding that humans were unlike anything they had imagined. Rektar felt a mixture of awe and fear. "So, they survive not because of strength, but because of heart and will," he whispered. Moran nodded. "And that is why they are deadly," he said. "Their strength lies in unity, in courage, and in never giving up. They adapt, they learn, they endure." Rektar decided that he needed to see the humans directly. He requested a meeting with their commander, and to his surprise, they agreed. The meeting would take place on a neutral asteroid, far from any fleet. When he arrived, the human commander waited calmly, her posture relaxed but her eyes sharp. She spoke first, her voice soft but firm. "We do not want war, Rektar," she said. "We want to survive, and we want to protect life. But if you force us, we will finish what must be finished." Rektar realized that everything he had seen was only a glimpse of the humans' power. They were not only fighters, but thinkers, planners, and protectors. He felt the weight of his people's arrogance. The commander smiled faintly. "We have warned your species before. Many did not listen." She said, "We do not seek unnecessary conflict, but we will act if it is required." Rektar returned to the Varel fleet, a heavy truth pressing on his mind. He gathered his warriors and spoke openly. "Humans are not like us," he said. "They are stronger in ways we do not understand. They fight not for pride, but for survival and protection. We must respect them, or we will fall." The elders prepared the records for every Varel to study, showing them the humans' history, their victories, their losses, and their unwavering spirit. Even the youngest warriors began to understand, their fear mixed with respect. The humans were not simply enemies, they were a force of nature, and no one could predict what they might do next. Across the void, the human fleet waited silently, patient and ready. Their presence alone reminded Varel that the next encounter could decide the fate of the system. Rektar looked at the stars, thinking of the battles to come. "We have seen their truth," he whispered, "and now we must face it, or we will not survive." The galaxy seemed quieter, heavier, as though it too understood the lesson. Humans were not merely strong, not merely brave. They were unstoppable when they fought for what they believed in. And Varel had only just begun to learn this truth. The Varel fleet gathered in the cold darkness of space, battered from the first clashes, yet there was no panic, only the heavy weight of fear and responsibility. Rektar stood at the front, his eyes scanning the stars, every movement, every signal, waiting for the humans to act. Across the void, a massive human fleet appeared, silent, precise, and calm. Ships of every size moved in perfect formation, their energy shields glowing faintly. Their presence alone made even the bravest Varel warriors uneasy. Elder Mran spoke softly into the council. "This is the last chance, Rektar. Either we choose wisely, or we will face total destruction." Rektar clenched his fists. "We cannot fight them again," he said, voice tight. "Not like this. Not without losing everything." The human commander's voice echoed through the VarelComSystems.com and unwavering. "We do not seek war, but we are ready," she said. "Leave your pride behind, and survive, or force us to act, and we finish what must be finished." The Varel hesitated, their arrogance from past victories fighting against the warnings of the elders. Rektar knew that if they attacked, Varel would be wiped out in hours, perhaps minutes. He stepped forward, facing his own people. "Listen to me," he shouted. "The elders were right. Humans are not our enemies. Our pride is." A murmur spread across the fleet, warriors looking at each other in shock. Some could not believe they were hearing this from the same commander who had once mocked the warnings. Moran nodded proudly. "The time to fight for survival is over. The time to fight for respect has come." Rektar activated the comms to speak directly to the human commander. "We surrender," he said, "not because we are weak, but because we understand. We choose life, not pride." The human fleet halted, the silence heavy and tense. Then the commander's voice spoke again, soft, yet full of authority. "You have made the right choice. Rektar, we will not destroy you. We respect those who learn, even if it is too late for some." The Varel fleet lowered its weapons, the stars around them reflecting the calm of the humans' restraint. For the first time, Varel felt a new kind of fear of the humans' mercy, and fear of their own arrogance. Rektar looked at the commander's image, her eyes steady and unwavering, and understood fully what the elders had warned. Humans were not only powerful, they were fair. They were not cruel. They were not reckless. They were survivors, protectors, warriors of heart. The elders stepped forward, their faces filled with relief and pride. "We have learned our lesson," Mran said. "Humans fight for what they believe, and we must respect that, or be destroyed." Across the galaxy, the human fleet began to withdraw, leaving Varel intact, but forever changed. The young warriors stared at the stars, thinking of the battles they had lost, and the lessons they had barely survived. Rektar stood silently, his pride gone, replaced by understanding and respect. "Fear humans," he whispered, "but trust them too. They are the future we must honor, not the enemy we must destroy." The star seemed brighter now. The galaxy held its breath, as if acknowledging the new truth. The humans had come. They had tested they had shown mercy, and in doing so, they had changed the fate of an entire species. The last chance before extinction had passed, and Varel would never forget the lesson of the humans.